of having a 10-day exercise, something which is long enough for people to have to really think about what they're doing, really think about the personal administration. Move away from the Mars bar exercises, we call them, which are just 3 days or 4 days, we can just about live off Mars bars. In a 10-day exercise, you really need to have your personal administration up to speed. You've got to make sure that you eat properly, you wash yourself, and your hygiene is squared away as well. So the idea of the exercise was to deploy to a forward operating base, away from the usual camp where we stay in Ram, build it, which you can see around us, build this camp here, and then work from this base. And we've got everything here. We've got our field kitchen here, we've got our field ablutions, we've got our mechanics and engineers out here as well, and indeed the 5 platoons, because we've got 3 platoons from G Company and 2 platoons from the Moroccan Armed Forces, which are attached to us as well. 3 platoon. You will move into the FOB at grid 092155 and provide the guard force for it.
Who's going to be dealing with the handover takeover as soon as you get there, the FOB?
CQMS.
CQMS.
Yeah. Very much on the logistics side of it. On the tactical side of it, you get in contact with the platoon commander on the ground and take over from him.
To the AP.
Yeah. Remember that at the moment we're providing a military presence in the area. Okay?
Yeah.
In order to get a full and realistic understanding of what this exercise entails, we spend 10 days living, sleeping and deploying with the men from 3 platoon. Three platoon consists of 30 men. The platoon is then divided into 3 sections, with each section breaking up into 2 fire teams. The platoon commander is supported by the platoon sergeant, and each section has its own commander and 2 IC, and then you have the privates. We explore the relationships within 3 platoon by focusing on 3 men in particular. Lieutenant Bonfante has called a briefing.
3 platoon's mission to provide guard force at the FOB at grid 092155, 092155, in order to create the conditions for the deployment of effective peace support taskings. Okay, looking now at the situation with the Caliber militia, they work in groups of 5 to 6. They have no exact location, since they're working in and around the Caliber area. But for their own survival, as mentioned, they seek shelter from the sympathizers in the villages scattered around the area. This is basically the kit that we're going to take, or that I have to take for the next 9 days, but it wouldn't be very much different to this. Basically, I don't know, have you seen ration packs? They were basically, you boil them, and if you boil them in these things, they're not that nice actually. They're quite horrid, but they keep you alive, which is probably a good thing to do. Most important thing here, bag of morale. It's not so bad in like the desert, because you're dry, you're warm and all that, but especially when you go to the UK and you're always wet and cold and miserable, little sweets like these, they just bring a smile to your face when everything seems to be going wrong. So sweets are very good. Tin pot, helmets. It's probably one of the most annoying pieces of kit you have, but yeah, I mean, everybody can probably understand the importance of putting one of these in your head. I don't like them. And the chin strap really gets to me. But there we are. It also makes your head sweat a lot. Everything makes you sweat here. Body armour. Right, you put this on as you move around, and it simulates body armour that you'd have on operations. However, it is significantly different. It's a lot lighter. The one operations called Osprey, it's very heavy. It's very good, but it's very heavy, very bulky, and this is not. However, it does make you sweat shed loads. So not looking forward to putting that on. Wet wipes. This is a squatty bath. Okay, it's what we use to keep as clean as possible when we're out there. And even though hygiene is very important out in the field, it's not at the very top of the agenda. And basically all of that, or most all of that, goes in here, and that's what we're living out of for the next 9 days. We also have to take our chest rigs, given the sort of deployment that we're doing. So pretty much this would go in here, so this bit here, and obviously because we'll be doing a lot of patrolling, walking around, as not to take this everywhere, we also have to take a smaller patrol sack, which also has to go in there. So with the exception of this bit here, everything else has to fit in there. And if we get perhaps one of the privates, we'll show the finished example of what it might look something like. So we can see the Bergen, as it's known, and the patrol sack, which we saw, and here would be the cot vest, as you mentioned, fully packed now with the camelback strapped to the back. And if we're moving around, obviously this goes on your back, and off you go. And sometimes it's not that great, but it is. So that's pretty much it. That's all the kit that we take. As a platoon, we take more stuff. Stuff like shovels, pick, axes. What else have we signed out that we take?
Wire cutters, picks, 351 radio for the platoon sergeant. And
Share them your radio, because that's...
I just got a little radio. Unfortunately, that's the one I carry, plus a spare battery.
I'll show you mine.
So just to compare it.
Folks, disappear. 30 meters of green string.
Section film. Warren, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Just gonna give you a bit of an insight of the morale bags that the guys carry around.
It's not because I'm small, let's go.
Hold on. Deploy the goodies.
Oh my god.
Gio, get the saucepan out.
For morale.
You don't need rations, you need the Buddy.
Oh, casual.
Hey, buddy.
The frying pan.
Thing.
Any more?
In charge of me.
Right. As you can see, it's not just about carrying the essential kit, but also carrying all your goodies with you. Right, gents. 2 ICs closing on me. Let's go. No, don't worry about the bag. We'll do it separately. I've got to see your numbers down already. Right, show me. Not bad, no? The inspection. It's not perfect either.
The relationship between the men is an interesting one. The affection and trust that exists is a brotherly love. It's simple. These men would kill and die for each other. Therefore, the bond that knowledge creates is a powerful one. The camaraderie, the teasing, the jokes and pranks that are constant are essential, for they keep people in line and, above all, morale high. Yet underlying all this is the very rigid and necessary rank structure of the armed forces. And this is never forgotten by the men. We take a closer look at the relationships between the men of 3 Platoon.
The platoon sergeant is a very experienced man. It's the most experienced man in the platoon. So the platoon commander would be a foolish platoon commander not to take heed of the platoon sergeant's advice. I'm fortunate enough that the platoon commanders I've got are wise and listen to the platoon sergeants. And it works very, very well. It's important. The platoon commander focuses on the mission and how he's going to direct his troops, and then the platoon sergeant will focus on the welfare of the troops. He'll focus on ammunition and the administration of that platoon. So in order for the platoon commander to achieve his mission, the platoon sergeant will provide the necessary administration, be it administration, the feeding, or the general logistics of moving a platoon around.
When I came back from training, like I said, 18 months ago, I was a guy straight out of the sausage factory, pretty much just new textbook soldiering, that sort of stuff. And I walk into my platoon and I'm the boss, and I have this guy here who's been a soldier for 10 years or more, who knows the ins and outs, and basically just knows how the run of the place goes. And it's a relationship which you have to get right.
Three platoon have been deployed to a forward operating base known as a FOB. This will be their home for the next few days. It's incredibly basic. It will provide the men with shelter and food. Securing the camp is of primary importance.
Yeah, bring them this way. 2 piles left about. This way. This one really needs to be built up. Right, we've just arrived at the FOB, and basically we've just taken over the camp, and the most important bit of it, the camp security. So the first thing that we've done, we've literally just got off the wagons and straight away we posted the sentries and the guards, just to make this a secure location, which is our duty. Men have been posted to all the sangars, and we've now been able to crack on with a bit of work that still needs to be done. Again, based around protection, which is the first priority as soon as we take over anything. The positions need to be built up just to ensure the protection of the sentries themselves. So I've already briefed up my section commanders. They've all gone away and they're working now hard at building up these positions. And now we'll just have to wait to see what the next phase of the operation is. But will certainly be a good 4 or 5 hours just filling up sandbags and posting them and just building up these positions to make them as safe as possible.
Y ahora mismo le he dicho que haga ficha que no voy a saquearlo.
Te digo un plan para que lo hagas chase. Para que te hace falta de
pasa que estoy yo haciendo hecho y estáis comprando un cheque de refianza.
Vale, yo sé que está poniendo aquí ya todas las cosas aquí. Vale, con que ya one start, que se venga aquí y empezamos esta aquí. ¿Está bien?
Voy para acá.
Voy a mirar.
Vamos más sandbags.
No, están los árboles de far distance. Vale.
Es mi axis.
Ese es tu access. Vale. Ok. Have a password.
Quebec Hotel. No, Quebec Charlie Hotel Romeo.
Vale, pero eso hasta las 12 nada más, ¿vale?
Exacto.
From midday to midnight. Lima Yankee. Juliet. ¿Está bien?
Have an early start. They're deploying as a quick reaction force and have been tasked with escorting defence stores to one platoon, based at Platoon House.
Just come off guard this morning. Then we start ops now. QRF, we're going to escort one of the trucks over to Platoon House, which is about 14 km from here. It'll take us about an hour and a half to get there.
Well, it's quite important to hit this north road. Once we're here, it'll be no problem getting to the Platoon House. What we need to watch out, vulnerable points, and anything that we need to bring up for the escort of the convoy tomorrow, okay? Also bearing in mind that we'll be escorting the supplies for the Platoon House. All this area has been cleared by 2-0. Okay, and they are waiting for us at the base of this mountain, just waiting for us to go through. And once we've gone past them, they'll make their way back to the FOB.
Yeah, like, any questions? No. No? Raw.
It's important that 3 Platoon familiarise themselves with this route, for tomorrow they're escorting VIPs to a crucial meeting with the village elders. It's a long journey and the heat is becoming unbearable. The Humvee's made for an uncomfortable ride, and it's not long before everyone is coated in a fine layer of dust. The privates seem indifferent to this. They focus on entertainment, on having fun. Morale is still high.
I've got a joke. Warren here comes from school to his mother crying, saying, "Mommy, Mommy, they don't stop calling me Backstreet Boys at school." And her mother says, "Who?" And Warren goes, "Everybody."
This does not mean that the men aren't on guard. They remain ever watchful, keeping a close eye on the stark landscape. Upon approaching Platoon House, the men dismount their vehicles and patrol the area on foot. Using their PRRs, personal role radios, they remain in constant communication. The platoon sergeant liaising between the platoon commander and the privates. One platoon's commander meets them, advising on the securest positions for their vehicles. He has a work party organised to unload the trucks as quickly as possible. The risk of attack remains high.
The purpose of us sort of escorting the defence stores over is because of the nature of the situation and the current situation in the scenario at the moment, and we cannot afford to have all this lost or stolen, or have the convoy itself attacked and the stuff taken away. So the OC decided to deploy the QRF, the Quick Reaction Force, which is what we were, to escort the defence stores all the way up here, just to make sure that should anything happen along the way, be it an ambush or IEDs or anything of the sort, that we'd be there to provide the necessary force to protect it, make sure that it got here, and it has. So mission accomplished. Just like we did yesterday at the FOB, where we had to build up all our positions and make sure that we were safe, or as safe as we could possibly be. So they have to do the same now, and they'll have to build up this house and make it as easily defendable as possible. And there's a lot of work that goes towards that. Lots of time-consuming work and very labour-intensive. Lots of moving around of bricks, as you can see behind us, sandbags, wire, low wire entanglement, all that good stuff. That's all going to go in. So it'll be probably a long 4 or 5 hours for one platoon, but you know, that's life. We'll just jump back onto our Humvees and make way back to the FOB, or we shall have a little rest, and we'll be thinking of one platoon very fondly as we lie there.
3 Platoon head back to the FOB. Security remains tight, especially when driving through the villages, yet the journey back remains uneventful. They arrive at the FOB, hopeful of a few hours rest. Having been on guard duty for most of the night, the men are tired, but this is not to be. 3 Platoon had to be deployed by helicopter. Their mission? To set up a vehicle checkpoint at an assigned junction.